Welcome back to the Spiritual Uplevel Podcast. I'm your host, Jeri Cristine, and today we have with us a guest from Nebraska, which always has a special place in my heart, Tonya Wilken. And Tonya and I connected on Facebook, and we just had a connection, and I'm so excited to interview you today, Tonya. Tonya is an energy worker, medium, and mentor who loves to guide people on their journey to self-love. Thank you for being here with me today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, apparently your connections, your connection to your guides are excited too. Her lights started flashing and it's just going crazy over there.
Yes, my
I love
connection. I do blow out lights a lot, and I do have the flashing of lights, and it always lets it be known. So here we are.
it. So what does that mean, Tonya? You're on the right path. You're supposed to be here on this interview today. I
Yep,
hope so.
that is my guides letting me know that I'm on my right track, giving me credit for stepping out of my box and doing something different
Nice.
out of
I
my
love it.
comfort zone. So, yep, they're letting me know that I'm doing a very good job.
Good. Good. Well, I think so too. So, Tonya, why don't you begin by just telling us like an overview of what you do, and then introduce the audience to like who you were before and how you got on this track.
Okay. So I do energy work, and I do coaching, I do mediumship, I do readings, and those really come together with with all. I do everything out of love and light, obviously, but like they just all flow together so amazing at times that when I'm in a session, loved ones come in, and I make sure I bring those messages in when I'm doing their guiding and coaching. Our loved ones, always have something good, guidance, wisdom to give us. And when I'm coaching, also I channel in messages that their spirit team is wanting them to know, things like that. And I also transmute energy as I'm doing the sessions. And so I will probably do that here where I'm kind of transmuting energy where I will burp or I'll start yawning out of nowhere. And that's just how I transmute the energy and work through the energy to help release it for myself, for the client, for whoever I'm working with. And so I do sessions both ways, distant, and I also do them in a setting where they can lay down, relax, and do a meditative state too. So I do
Nice.
all kinds of ways. It's whatever entails, whatever comes to me is what happens. So so how that all came together was I had recently got divorced, and I was scared out of my mind of how I was going to raise three kids on my own. And it kind of shook me a bit. And it was not a good relationship. It was not what I wanted my kids to be around. And so I had been with him since I was 15. I didn't know how to be by myself. And so I jumped into another relationship that ended up being just as toxic because I hadn't healed myself enough to not attract that in, or not I hadn't learned enough. And so as I was in the second relationship, I was seeing how I left the marriage because of the toxicity, and I wanted my kids to have a better life. And so when I was in the next one and it started to get to be the same way, I was like, how can I do this when I left my husband at that time and moved into another relationship that isn't even the kids' father, and I'm letting it happen again. And that's kind of when I had my huge awakening of like, I need to better myself. And again, I didn't know who I was. I had been with somebody since I was 15 years old. I married my high school sweetheart. We had three kids together. We had been together for 22 years, and I was like a people pleaser. I didn't, you know, I wanted to make everybody else happy. I didn't know how to make myself happy. And so I have been doing this for like a little over 3 years by myself. I have found that I can do things on my own and I can raise 3 kids on my own and do it all. And it was scary for me. And I kind of reached out and I started my journey. And um, I learned energy work. I did Reiki with a group and learned so much. And then I started to work on my intuition and I went to some classes and I went and learned so much and I was lost. I didn't understand. I couldn't put it all together. And I ended up finding a mentor that helped me through so much. And we have become best friends. And she still mentors me and helps me and guides me. And if I wouldn't have found her, I don't know where I would truly be. She helped me understand energy. She helped me understand um, how it all works and how I need to also look in the mirror and see the things I needed to heal and know that that wasn't always, the other person. I knew that I contributed to that. And, we don't always like to look at that and see that.
Yeah.
And so, I I found her, thankfully, and then now I'm on my own journey to help others find themselves and know that it's okay to be alone and take that time alone. And even a single mom, we can do things, hard things,
Mhm.
and building that confidence because I didn't have that confidence. And that had a lot of to do with school, my upbringing, my relationships, just being knocked down so much. And I didn't know where to start, and it all
Yeah.
happened before I knew it. It's
Yeah.
amazing how it all
Crazy.
happens and comes together. It's actually really beautiful when you stop and look back.
Yeah, I love how I can tell just from your energy that, like you said, you do everything in love and light. Like that's very clear from your energy. And I love how the most truest, genuine healers found their self to becoming a healer because of the journey that they had to go through. I believe that those of us with the most work to do healing other people usually had the most work to do healing ourselves. And that's how we came to be where we are today. And I would imagine that you, like me, just have so much compassion. Like I always tell people, there's like nothing you could tell me that will shock me or make me think differently of you. And it's because of our own journey, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
And that's where I always tell my clients there's no judgment. We talk about all the things. The
Mhm.
hard, the good, the bad, like everything, it makes us so much stronger. Like we don't even realize. And sometimes it's hard for me to think like, oh, I've had it so like hard, but I'm like, but people have lost people. Like people have like my journey isn't that hard, and we, even discredit that. And and that's how I was so hard on myself. I was the worst critic. I was so hard on myself and negative, and I was so positive to all my friends, and they're always like, "Oh, Tanya, you're so great." And I'm like, "Yeah." And then, but I was like so horrible to myself, and I'm like, I have got to work on this because it's hard, but it's so beautiful at the same time.
Yeah.
It's so
The
there's
heart is worth it.
oh
What
yeah,
what you have to go through that feels hard, which is what keeps a lot of people away from the healing, like finding their own inner healing because they're afraid of it. But it's so worth it. Like what you gain on the other side is so worth it.
yep.
So worth it.
And
So
that was me
so
before, like,
Tanya,
I totally, like, was that person that, like, didn't wanna see it and didn't wanna see I was the problem and all my negative talk and things, I thought that was all normal, and then now I'm like, "Holy buckets," like
well, sadly, I think it is normal. I think it is normal. I think people are just now starting to change. I think about like, I don't know, maybe not. maybe not. However, in my world, I think it has been normal, and a lot of people talk to themselves that way. And I love that I feel that we're living in a time where people are starting to wake up and the veil is thinning and all of that sort of thing is changing,
Yep.
thankfully.
I know, and our kids, I have 3 kids, and in my 2 girls, my son's gonna be 21 this month. Ooh, but, my 2 girls, I see myself in them, and it's just like, "Oh gosh," and then I'm like and then I see you don't think they're watching, and then, like, my daughter, like, will come in and she'll be like, "Mom, I wrote about you," and she's, like, in high school, as my hero, and, like, "You're my hero, you help
Oh,
me, see things, and you're there for me all the time," and all this, and I'm like, "This is what makes it worth it," and we don't we're so hard on ourselves that, we put our kids through divorce or we've, you know, put them
yeah.
through toxic relationships, they don't know any different, and then you question your parenting, and then you get that, and then you're like, "Okay." So just at those right moments, you get those moments where they're like, "Okay, they are listening, they are seeing, and I am doing a good job and need that reassurance," and that always comes in at just the right timing, and I love how that works.
Yeah, I know, me too. We were kind of talking about that off camera before we started recording too, how like for both of us, the big lesson recently has been trust and um
Patience.
patience.
Let it come, let it
Believe,
come.
trust, patience, yeah, all of those fun things. So going from like that negative self-talk and no self-worth, what is like one of your favorite tools to get someone from there to loving themselves and having positive self-talk?
That is my favorite thing to do. I also, when I was younger and things, I was definitely defined as I had ADHD.
Mhm.
I had trouble staying focused. I had trouble learning. And so I grew up, I was thinking I couldn't do things because I had trouble learning. I had trouble understanding things. And so now seeing it from a different place and knowing and having those skills to take that deep breath or kind of refocus that monkey mind that we all kind of get sometimes, and that
Yep.
monkey mind that can tell us also, I also call it like the lower self. We have the higher self, the lower self, and when they're off balance, we can kind of get stuck in one or the other too much. And so what I like to teach people is that, when we get into those moments when something's not working out or, we're in a really hard place in our life, we can spiral out of control very quickly. Our minds, like, oh, they don't like me. Oh, I did this. Oh, I did that. So I like to be able to sit and talk through it in a way of like, okay, but what if they are just having a bad day too, and or they're having something just happened in their life that you don't know about, and
Mhm.
so they're not really truly mad at you, they have something else going on, or, just all of the different ways that we can look at things
Yeah.
and be able to refocus our thoughts, refocus our thinking, and that also helping us know that it's not because of us. I am also a big people pleaser. Like I thought I was happy making everybody else happy. And so we kind of work through those things, and that's a lot of my clients is, they come in asking for help on how to handle certain situations, and we can sit down and talk about that. And the great thing too is I channel their spirit team. I channel God source energy universe. And like I feel like it's just like a big team. Like all sitting at a table chatting about something, and they get the messages they need. I also get to, pretty much I usually always get to tell them something that has happened into my life to also help them understand that it's not just them, because that's like so powerful to me because I always thought it was just me. I always thought I was different. And so hearing other people say like, "Oh, that happened to me too," like has totally changed my life. And so I feel like that's something important for me to tell people too when I'm having sessions is like that's happened to me and kind of tell them my story to be able to help them understand that they're not alone because so
Yeah.
many times we feel like we're alone.
I love that because, you never want to take the focus off of the client. However, you're so right. It helps people realize that they're not alone. They're not the only ones this has happened to. And when they're coming to you, they kind of, on some level, put you on a pedestal because they're coming for healing. And so to know that that also happened to you or that you can relate to that makes it, that was transformative in my life, I know. And that's super powerful. And I love that you're vulnerable that way and able to show, because that again shows your heart and where you're coming from with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So rethinking and allowing people to see possibility instead of just what their mind is stuck on believing at the time, it sounds like.
And then also like their loved ones will come in. And
Mm.
gosh, no matter how many mediumships I've done, like, it still brings tears to my eyes. Like, it's still like I'm always like trying not to break down, but then I'm like, why am I trying to hide that? Like, why can't I show them like this loving grandma? I always feel like it's grandmas, are coming in, or mothers are coming in and, helping in the healing, in the chats, and coaching and things. And it's like it's yeah, it's a beautiful. I love what I do. It's my passion, and, oh, it's just
When you're doing mediumship, are you seeing other beings? Are you hearing them, feeling them? How does that work for you?
I was actually always scared to do mediumship, and it's really funny because in my full-time life, like, I work in a corporate job, and I have always done retirement. And my mentor, she's like, "Tonya," she's like, "Have you ever noticed that you are in, like, retirement, like, and you talk with people, older people, and so, like, you're helping older people and you're doing all this stuff?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Well, retirement, like, people are passing away, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Mediumship?" And I'm like, "Oh." It's like, "Oh, yeah." It's like, I know, but I don't want to do mediumship because I feel, I also hear, I also have a knowing. I don't see. I'm always like, "Darn it, I wanna see so bad." But I know that will come. I'm working on that. But, I was scared of it for a long time, and I know that when I was younger, I could see. I shut it off because I got scared at night when I could see things. And so I shut it down, not knowing. And then now, if I knew that and how hard it is to get that back, because spirit doesn't want to scare us, right? Like, so if we ask for something to be toned down or we don't want to see something, like they're going to listen, right? They're here to honor us and, work with us. And so I shut it down when I was younger, and I'm like, "Darn it." But so I really feel, and I've asked spirit also, since I'm a big with energy and feeling, I've asked spirit, like, "Can I not really feel how somebody passes?" That's always been something kind of scary to me. Like, I don't want to feel their heart attack, or I don't want to. And so I do still somewhat feel how someone passed, but in a lighter way, and then it kind of just goes away. So I've adjusted. Like, we get to control how spirit comes to us, right? So we can ask for it to be toned down. And so they do still bring that into me. I can feel how somebody passed, but it's in a gentler way. And so now that I know what I know, it's like, okay, like it's okay.
Wow. Do you ever have anything scary like you don't want? Have you had to learn to protect your energy that way? And
Yes,
yeah.
it's pretty recent to me. I've done some classes. I haven't quite found the right person to help me with this, but spirit tells me that I already know it and I already have the wisdom. And that's a lot of us, right? We have the inner wisdom, we have that knowing, but we always look kind of outside of ourselves for, that person. And
Yeah.
so I haven't found that person, but I have worked with my spirit team. I actually have like a bear that comes in. And like I say, I can't see a bear, but the bear comes in and protects me. I also have, like, I work with a lot with like Archangel Michael. So he will be there. Universe, source energy, God, however you call it. Like I say, I'm open to however you use those words, but they're always there supporting me. I can feel them. Um, not let, and I always ask for, because we also, when we're doing mediumship too, like we don't want to get that like mean Aunt Karen coming in, like you were not very nice to me, or you did this or that. I mean, I always ask for the highest good. I always ask for the highest light. And so I haven't had any anybody I have felt the kind of energy come in, but I can feel my team be like, nope, you're not able to come through. And then I kind of know I have that inkling, like, okay, somebody's trying to come in that is not for their highest good. But then I have that protection there to push that away. So
Nice.
it's all about that. And sometimes, I have been, this has been coming to me recently, is like, I've been slacking at like doing my meditations, or, like getting up and clearing my energy. And I'm like, oh, I know I need to get back to that. It's funny how we can slip out of that. And then we just have that knowing of like, oh, I need to get better at that and bring that into our life. And that's something too that I bring in with my self-love events and things like that. Like it's okay to, not be able to do this routine every single day and kind of need a day of rest, or, take a step back when we're in that harder healing that we're working through, of remembering that we don't have to always constantly be in that plan of like, okay, I have to do this, this, and this all day, every day. It's okay to take that step back and we get back into it, because I had a thing with food when when we're having hard moments, we always have something we go to, right? We have food, we have alcohol, we have drugs, we have shopping, we have these things that make us feel good, right? And so, we're going to have slip ups, and I lost all the weight and I still have those slip ups, but I know when that time comes back where I need to like take that step back and get back into my routine. So we're all human. I always say, we are who we are and we're perfect as we are. And we're going to make mistakes. We're human.
I appreciate that you said that because I, have done a lot of work on myself as well. And I think I talk to myself pretty good for the most part. However, I'm a doer. I'm task oriented. And so like I had actually just this weekend a little, not a little, it was a big release, something that I've carried from my family since at least eighth grade, and I'll be 50 in a couple months. So I cried for an hour Friday night and I was exhausted all weekend. And I gave myself permission to sleep and to sleep in and to rest. I had a 90-minute massage. I went to yoga. That is not always easy for me and I needed it. And I just want to encourage our listeners to
Right.
pay attention to what you just said, because it's so important to like give yourself grace and love yourself where you're at and not always be pushing.
Yep. And I always tell, when I do my events and when I do my retreats, I always tell everyone, like, you are who you are in this now moment. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to teach you, and we're going to go through this. And in 2 months, 3 months, I could totally change this. It's how we are and where we're at in that moment. And so we're always constantly growing. So I always say, come grow with me, because we are
Uh,
growing together. We are going to move through it together, and we are in this time and space, and this is what we need right now. And that might not be what we need in 2 months from now, or 2 years from now, or may have a whole new view. I mean, we're always constantly learning and growing. So that's my big thing, is we're here to learn and grow, and we're constantly learning and growing.
I saw that you said growing through all the cycles, how to love yourself through all the growing cycles. How do you do that?
Oh, it is it's taken me a long time. um Like I say, was really my worst critic. I was like you, where I mean, I had to do stuff all the time. And I have, like I say, I have that ADD where I'm like, oh, I got to be doing something. I got to be doing something. And when I don't do anything, I just feel like I didn't do anything. I didn't accomplish anything. And I just would beat myself up like, Tonya, why didn't you do that today? Why didn't you go get the laundry done? And so we can be our own worst critics. And so what I do is how do we reinvent the wheel pretty much of that monkey mind. And so when I teach like, okay, that's okay to think that at that moment, but how are we going to retrain that? So when we start thinking that, when we have that downtime, those times when we don't have anything going on and we're like, oh, what do we do? Like, what do I do at this time? It's uncomfortable sometimes when we're first starting to learn how to be in those moments and we
Mhm.
think we have to be doing something. So like when I'm teaching and when I'm doing things, I'm always like, okay, like so start thinking about things you like to do. And I caught myself even just recently with this. I had a session too, an energy session that I don't do a lot for myself. And I was like, she got me. And you start to feel like you're doing pretty good and you've done a lot of healing and you're like, okay, what's next? And then I had that happen to me just this last weekend is like, what makes you happy, Tanya? I'm like, "Oh gosh." I was like, I thought about all these things, shopping and like I say, going out for dinner with friends or things like that. And it's hard when you're sitting there like, okay, well, what truly does make me happy? And I love going outside. I love being, in fresh air and things, and you can't really do that in the wintertime. So it's like I teach people to, okay, let's sit down and write about this. Let's sit down and really think through this. Let's really work through these blocks. And when we have energy with this is my energy work kicking in, is when we have these blocks and things in our body, we're holding on to that energy. And so we need to release that. And the best way to do that is energy work. And I told you I'm going to start burping. When I talk about this, it always happens. I'm like, gosh, it always sounds so bad. But it's good. We're releasing this for everybody that's watching and us together, so it's really good.
Yeah.
So, it's writing those things out and really digging into those things, and that is also going to help release the energy that we're maybe storing in our body, like we store a lot of guilt and, things in our hips and things like that. And you're gonna start coughing. Sorry. It's coughing,
No, it's
yawning.
okay. Lots of energy. I love it.
Right. So, yes, that's what happens when you work with me. So, it's really good.
That's
But
good.
it's all there. So, we're working through that, and how can we retrain that monkey mind when we kind of catch ourselves saying, "Oh, I'm not good enough," or "Oh, I didn't do this. I'm not worthy of this because I didn't do this today. I'm not worthy to take a nap. I'm not worthy to," we don't have to be worthy. We don't have to exhaust ourselves to be worth that nap or
Yeah.
we are just so hard on ourselves, so we kind of work through that energy and why maybe what programming we had when we were younger where we grew up in school or we grew up with our family that lovingly had us on track and a plan and you know thought they were doing the best thing for us, but then that also we took that and kind of ran with it with our own mind and, you know, created this for ourselves. And so we're really digging through that and working through that. And I do that with just we are who we are right here in the now, and we're worth it no matter where we're at in our stages. Whether we're doing some deep work and we're seeing like the things we're not happy about for ourselves, right? We're digging into where we maybe are controlling people when we think maybe we're like people pleasing them, but we're really controlling, trying to control situations. And so we're working through some of that deep stuff, but we're also giving ourselves that love that like you really cared about that person to love them like that. And, you know, but we need to also give them their strength and their time to work through it. So we really just sit and work through and talk through that. And that usually does create some burping and some coughing, yawning as we're opening up the throat chakra and things as we work through that. So it's when when I always feel like when people have a session, it's like we just do it all in one session.
I love that. No, that's really good. I love that you talked about retraining the monkey mind because there's so many ways to retrain it, like it sounds like a lot of moving from doing to being. And one thing I thought of was for people like me who tend to be tasky and always doing stuff, is that when I've been on that path of retraining that monkey mind, is there's peace. And then I'm like, I'm not anxious. Shouldn't I be anxious about something? It's like the anxiety about not having anxiety,
Ah,
but it's training it. You have to move through that, and the process of going from doing to being, and just being worthy,
yeah.
just for being alive. It's such a beautiful process. It's not easy and it's not fast. So I see why you do all the things when you meet with somebody.
Yeah. And the thing that is too is it's uncomfortable. Like we're so
Yeah.
used to that. It's uncomfortable for us to feel that way. And then we feel like, and that was actually something that just came in my session, is like then I trigger myself even sometimes before I catch myself. I'll even find myself like trying to find something to make myself feel uncomfortable. And I'm like, hold on,
Yeah.
Tonya. No, 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 no. Like you gotta go
Yeah.
dial yourself back. And even with like the labels and things. Like I said, ADHD, I was so labeled, and the labels are so common anymore. And it's so hard because it's like these poor, even people with ADHD and things, like it's so beautiful though. And I found the beauty in that. So, everybody was always kind of hard on me because like I couldn't sit still or I couldn't do that. But now I'm so thankful. And that's the other thing we have to think about is finding the beauty in our
Mhm.
dysfunction, or our things that we have that we don't really like about ourselves, but we truly are blessings. And so I mean sometimes I have to take that ADHD and be like, I am so thankful that I can see all different sides of things when I overthink, right? And I can see then other people's point of view, I can see my own point of view, and I can take all of that into consideration and really do that deep dive. And that's how I kind of just tell myself, like, it's a beautiful thing. It's not something that everybody has. And so, like I
Your
say, the labels,
power.
things, it gives us the power that we have, and it's not a bad thing.
Totally. That's one thing that as a parent, my husband and I have been working on with our kids, because the world wants to label so much these days. And we're constantly talking to them about how you can't put people in a box. You know, my kids are adopted, and they're, mixed. The girls are mixed race and Caleb is Black. And while the culture and heritage and stuff is important, and they learn about that, we don't label ourselves that way. I'm like we all have different eye color, we all have different hair color. Like it's so funny that we try to put people into boxes and labels, and ADHD. I was never diagnosed with ADHD, but as an adult, I've had people tell me that I probably have it. I'm like, I don't think I have it. However, I can multitask like nobody's business.
Right?
So, and one of my mentors said, it's your superpower. Just own it. Like the things that make us different, just like our stories are our superpowers.
Yeah,
That's so
exactly.
funny. My light just went off too. And it's never
Does.
went off before. So
My
we're supposed to be having a conversation.
Yep, we have all the sides. Mine's my light, yours that. We're all different. Yeah, my kids also too, like, their dad's side is all interracial too. Like, they're the only white, and they never asked about it. They all like see it as just they're all one. And it's so
Yeah.
beautiful when we can sit there and take those labels away, because everybody's beautiful in their own skin. Like you said, their own hair color, their own eye color, like it's beautiful. And so, and I know when I was growing up, that wasn't always okay. And I'm like, this
Yeah.
is not going to be how I raise my kids. Like, I'm going to be okay with
Yeah.
anything, and everything, no matter what kind of feedback I get back from my family or my friends. Like, it's going to be okay. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it all.
That's one of the things I love about where we're at today. Like the veil is thinning, but also the whole old paradigm is dying. And a lot of that labeling and stuff is that like the death throes of that. Because most of us are waking up and going, no, thank you. Like I'm gonna see the good aspect of that, you know, and not teach my kids that way. So yeah, that's beautiful. So Tonya, how like who are your clients? Who reaches out to you?
My clients, it's amazing how they come in. I have found some of my clients that I have done intuition classes with, and they'll come to me. They're like, "Oh my gosh, I just love how you were in this class and what what you said and how you talked and the thing information and the way you channel and like, can you like totally help me?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, for sure." I have the clients that I have been in classes with and things, and we've learned together, we've grown together. And then I also have people, a lot of my clients, I get to help because they have been where I've been in life. And that's where come into play of like, I always want the client to be able to, open up and talk. But I, no matter sometimes how hard I try to zip my lips and like not like bring into myself into things because it's about them, Spirit's like, "No, no, no, like, you need to tell them
Yeah.
about this." And I'm always like, "Oh, but I don't wanna make it about me," like, and that's also, a trigger for me too, is like, everybody always told me, like, I'm a talker, and so they're always like, "You always make it about yourself," and I'm like, "Gosh, am I?" Like, I'm trying to just because that's how I learned, is, like, people telling me, like, I've been through that, you know? So I always think everybody learns that way, and so, like, I would overthink or overtalk, and I didn't see it that way, and they would be, like, talking about it, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, like, I can see where you're coming from." But, so a lot of people come to me that have had relationships that, have been a little bit toxic, and, just the way we've been programmed through schooling, the way we're raised and things, and when I do this, I also make sure that we're also seeing, like, our side. We're not perfect, and it
Yeah.
takes 2. And so, it's kind of sometimes those harder things in the most loving and light way that I possibly can bring that in. And so, we have those hard conversations and because I
That's
just
so important though. I want to interject there. It's so important that we see our responsibility in
Mhm.
it because I believe nobody can fully heal and move forward and step into their power unless they see their responsibility. Because otherwise they're giving away their power to somebody or something outside of them. And if you do it in one situation, you'll do it in any situation.
right.
So that's beautiful that
Well,
you
that
bring that
and
to your work.
also society, right? We all get stuck on the image, what our
Mhm.
neighbor has, and sometimes wanting better than what they have or more than what we have, and not even seeing what we have right here in the right now. And we can get stuck in that, and it's easy. I've done there. I've been there. I've done that, right? And I've kind of always felt like the odd duck in my family because my sisters are all married, and live in these beautiful houses and all these things. And I'm like, I must not be worthy of that because I've had these gorgeous houses that I've built and I've lost them all. And I had to ask, that's kind of was another breaking point. I had to ask God, I'm like, why am I losing everything? Why, why do I build these beautiful houses and I leave or I lose them. And those are sometimes just in our path. We don't have the straight and narrow path like we want, right? We also want all of the things to all work out. We want the perfection, and that was me too. Like, I wanted the fairy tale relationship. I wanted the fairy tale home. I'll own it. I'll own it. And it would work out and then it would fall. I would be, just a bad relationship. Corporate America, I worked in a job there that like I wasn't going to leave. And I got laid off 3 times and I finally left. It's sometimes those
Three
big
times.
Yep, it's sometimes those big kicks that we, get us to where
Yeah.
we need to be. So we can never, and I always tell my clients this too, we will never miss it. We'll never miss what's not meant to be because we will get laid off. And we'll get laid off not once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times if we catch it. but we're never going to miss that. And that's the same thing with relationships I look at too, is like, I had one, I had another one, and then I finally was like, I got to wake up and I've got to take this time for myself and really dig into myself and see where I am and where I'm accepting this and letting this happen and what I'm contributing to this. So those are the people that actually come to me too. And so I help coach them, mentor them. Sometimes that's just by doing a card reading or things like that. I mean, I've done it all, just to explore it all because I love learning and growing. And so that's what I love about it is I can bring it all in with my sessions.
Nice. How does somebody reach out to you if they would like to?
I have my Facebook page, which is Love and Light Healing Energy. I have a website that is Love Light Healing Energy. I couldn't fit it all in there. And then so you can message me, you can email me at love and light healing energy at gmail.com. Anyways, I do have Instagram too, which is Love and Light Healing Energy. So messaging me there, emailing me, going to my website, you can sign up and it has a little chat that you can send me a message and I respond there. So yeah.
Nice. Awesome. I have a feeling there's going to be some people, some listeners that want to reach out to you after this. So,
Yeah.
um, I have two questions that I ask all of my guests before I let you go. And the first one is, what is one book that you recommend that all of our listeners read?
Okay. Well, funny thing on that, I was doing a retreat and I was asking spirit for like guidance. It was a self-love camp. And I was like, what am I going to teach? Like, they're like, you have the wisdom within you. Well, I was walking down my walking path that I walk all the time. And in the middle of the street was the Ultimate Cure book, just
The
randomly
ultimate.
in the street. So the Ultimate Cure is a really good book that kind of teaches us that self-love, how to heal ourselves and how energy sticks in our bodies and where it goes and how to kind of fix that on our own with our beliefs, with, just reframing our thoughts even. So that book has done amazing things for me. And Spirit definitely brought that into my space. The
I
right
was
time
going to
at the right moment.
say, that is incredible. So you were getting ready to do one of your mini retreats?
I did. This one was a self-love camp. So we
Okay.
went and did a camp and there were 7 of us and I just was starting out, so it was 7 of more healers and, intuitives, and so I got them all together and I'm like, "Hey, can we try this out?" And I was like, "Okay, Spirit, like, I've got them all together. Now what am I gonna bring? What am I gonna teach?" And so they're like, "What you're good at." And I'm like, "Well, what?" Like, and so, yeah, like, and that's how I
And
love
the book appeared on your path in the
my
middle of
path.
the
And like
road.
I say, that's how so much of my stuff has happened is like, and they talk about manifestation and things like that. I'm always like, I'm not very good at that. And I'm like, oh, I look back now and I'm like,
No,
I'm really
I
good at
was just
that.
gonna say, talk
I
about
need to teach that.
manifesting.
Yep.
You're manifesting physical things right on your path. That's
Right.
incredible.
And there, like I
Wow.
say, there's things that you can't even miss. And so that's what I love too about my journey is that like whatever God brings into me, whatever source, whatever brings in, I am all about it. And I'm all about teaching it. I'm all about growing and about learning. And so that is the one book I would say that people would need because we can heal ourselves. We don't have to be anybody special. And even like what I do when I do mediumship readings, when I do coaching, I'm like, I'm nobody special. And I do not call myself like a psychic or anything like that. I always say I'm an intuitive guide and a medium because I feel like intuitive, we all are intuitive. Where sometimes people think like psychic, oh, you've got these great abilities. Well, we all have these great abilities. It's all within us. So I love calling me an intuitive guide and medium because we're all intuitive. I'm not anybody special. We all have it. It's all a gift we have,
Wow. That's so cool. Yeah. We can definitely heal ourselves. That's a whole other topic of conversation that
right?
we could have one day.
We have lots.
For sure. Yeah. So you may have answered this in what you just said, but what is one thing that you wish everyone in the world knew?
Yeah, that we all have it within us, and it doesn't matter where you're at. Even if you are at the lowest stage in that deep depression, in that deep, like your world is crashing down, trust me, trust me that it's gonna be the biggest blessing in your life too, because that is always what happens. There's always this thing that we're gonna have to rise above, and that's what gives us our worth. That's what shows us that we have that inner strength to do the hard. And that's what makes us so strong, and what makes us our journey is that we have that big realization, and then we make it through, and then we look back and we're like, gosh, like I did all of that. Like, whew, like I can do anything. I've made it through the darkest of times. I have lost, like I say, houses and things, and all of it were, that's the thing, is they were all things. And now I'm not in the beautiful house and things, and I love it. I found the peace in it. So, be give yourself give yourself the love you deserve. Wherever you're at, what you're doing, you've gone through it, and be thankful for everything you have, because even if it's nothing, like you have something. And so just be proud of yourself and how far you've come. And just remember to take those moments to take a step back and really look at what you've been through, to really see how amazing you are.
Hmm. Oh, that's so beautiful. I have nothing else to say. On that note, Tonya, thank you so much for being with us today. I've really enjoyed this.
Yes, thank you for having me on here. I'm so excited that we met and our paths crossed. It's so amazing. I love how it all works out.
Agreed. Absolutely. And I'll have you back another time to talk about how we can heal ourselves.
Yes, for
So,
sure. I would
thank
love to talk about that. Oh, I love how it all works out.